Okay, let's unpack this. The world of AI, I mean, it's just moving at an incredible speed, right?
It really is.
And frankly, it can feel pretty much impossible to keep up with every single new development.
Yeah, you blink and you miss something major.
Exactly. But that's why we're here. Our mission with this deep dive really is to cut through all that noise, try and pull out the most important nuggets of knowledge, the key insights from all these sources we've looked at,
Right.
and help you understand what it all actually means for you.
And what's fascinating, looking at the sources, is just how many different things are happening all at once. It's not just one area.
No.
You've got the core tech evolving, the market dynamics are just wild, and then there are these huge societal questions bubbling up.
Yeah.
It's a really complex picture, a landscape that's moving super fast. It definitely demands, our close attention.
Absolutely. So looking at all the material we gathered for this, what's the first thing that really jumps out at you? For me, it's this unbelievably high-stakes AI race. The scramble for talent, these big strategic acquisitions, just the push for market dominance. Is that what you're seeing, too, that urgency?
Oh, without a doubt, yeah.
Yeah.
That urgency is, it's palpable. And it really starts with that battle for top talent. You mentioned it.
Yeah.
Like Meta intensifying the competition by hiring Apple's AI chief. That's a big move.
Huge.
But it's not just poaching big names.
Right.
Look at the money pouring in. You've got ex-OpenAI CTO Mira Murati's new lab, Thinking Machines,
Right.
offering $500,000 salaries, securing $2 billion in seed funding.
$2 billion seed funding.
Yeah. At a $10 billion valuation. I mean, that just signals the insane value being placed on the people who can drive these breakthroughs.
Wow.
It tells you exactly where the industry thinks the cutting edge is, And meanwhile, OpenAI itself is just hoovering up senior engineers from Tesla, from xAI, from Meta.
So a real arms race for the best minds.
Absolutely. Human capital is king right now.
Okay, that definitely highlights the talent focus. And this push, it's not just about brainpower, right? It feels like it's fueled by some serious financial momentum, too. What are some of the big money moves we're seeing?
Well, OpenAI, sticking with them for a second, they just closed that acquisition of IO Products.
Ah, Jony Ive's company.
Exactly. Bringing that renowned design expertise into the AI fold. It suggests they know that, user experience, aesthetics, that's going to be critical for getting everyone using this stuff.
Makes sense. Beyond just the tech itself.
Right. And financially. OpenAI is hitting massive numbers.
Yeah.
$10 billion in annual recurring revenue.
10 billion ARR.
Driven by ChatGPT, mostly. And this is after reporting a $5 billion loss last year.
That's quite the turnaround, or at least quite the investor confidence signal.
Huge confidence, and it's even trickling down, sort of. You've got fintechs like SoFi launching funds so retail investors can buy a small piece of OpenAI for like $10.
Interesting. Democratizing access to the hype, maybe?
Maybe. And it's not just the giants making financial waves.
Okay.
LangChain, they make tools for developers building AI apps.
Oh, wow.
They just secured $100 million in funding at a $1.1 billion valuation. They're supporting like 40,000 teams. It shows the huge demand for tools to actually build with AI.
Okay, so it's not just about who has the smartest AI model then. It's also about who controls the interface, the developer tools. Maybe even access to the investment itself. Is this signaling like a bigger platform war brewing?
It absolutely does.
Yeah.
All that money, it directly fuels the competition and leads straight into that platform war. Look at Google.
Okay.
They just debuted Gemini 2.5. Faster, more accurate, clearly sharpening their edge against the competition.
Right.
And OpenAI isn't just sitting back. They're apparently getting ready to launch their own AI-powered web browser.
A browser. Wow, okay. Taking on Chrome directly.
Seems like it. Directly challenging Google's long hold on how we get to the internet. And Google's strategy isn't just about search anymore either.
Yeah.
They're pushing Gemini out globally to wear OS smartwatches. Pixel, Samsung, OnePlus, Xiaomi, all those guys. And new foldables, too. They're positioning Gemini against Siri, against Alexa, trying to embed AI deeper into all our devices.
Right, into the hardware we use every day. And Apple's not standing still either, are they? I saw something about an AI support assistant.
Yeah, exactly. Apple's developing a ChatGPT-style assistant for their own support app, trying to automate responses, streamline customer help. It's clear every big player is scrambling to adapt.
And it's putting pressure on established players too, right? Like Adobe.
Definitely. Adobe's facing market pressure, even stock downgrades, because these new AI creative tools, like Midjourney, are really gaining traction.
So the landscape can shift really fast.
Incredibly fast when these disruptive AI tools pop up.
Okay, so moving from that intense market stuff, let's get into the tech itself. What are the underlying breakthroughs actually powering all this?
Yeah, let's pivot there. Because beneath all the market frenzy, the fundamental advancements are just, well, they're moving at an incredible pace.
It's like in the large language models, the LLMs.
Exactly. Take Tencent's Hunyuan team. They've introduced models they claim have emotional intelligence that rivals GPT-4o.
Emotional intelligence.
Fine.
Seriously.
That's the claim. Now, if that holds up, imagine AI that actually understands human nuance. It change everything from customer service bots to maybe even mental health support tools.
Wow.
It raises really fascinating questions about, what sentient AI might even mean and how we'd interact with it.
That's a profound shift. And it's not just about emotions, right? There are other breakthroughs in how flexible these models are and just raw speed.
Absolutely. Google's new Gemma models, for instance, they're making it much easier for developers to customize AI.
How so?
Well, they've got this thing called Modular Gemma 3 and Matformer Lab.
Yeah.
Basically, it lets developers resize foundation models without retraining them from scratch.
Okay, so you can take a big, powerful model and sort of shrink it or adapt it for your specific need without all the heavy lifting.
Exactly. It's a huge win for flexibility. It really democratizes who can actually build cool stuff with these advanced models.
And speed. You mentioned speed improvements.
Yeah, there's this new 5.4 mini flash reasoning model. It's achieving up to 10-fold inference speed improvement.
10 times faster.
Which means AI responses could become much, much closer to real time. And the hardware's keeping pace too. AMD's latest GPUs, the MI300X, they're getting specialized open source software tweaks, inference kernels, that dramatically boost how fast LLMs can run on them. Think of it like supercharging the engine.
Gotcha. Fine-tuning for peak performance. We're also hearing whispers, leaks maybe, suggesting Grok 4 might be taking the lead in coding and math.
Yeah, those claims are out there. Still early. Hard to verify everything, but it points to that constant leapfrogging in specific capabilities.
Okay, constantly shifting leaderboards. Now, you mentioned democratizing things. There's also big news about OpenAI releasing something called an open weight model. What exactly is that, and why is it a big deal?
Right, that is a potentially huge development. It's their first major open weight release since, 2019.
So what does open weight mean in practice?
It means the core guts of the model, the parameters, the architecture, are made public. So organizations can download it, tweak it, run it on their own computers or servers.
So you're not reliant on calling OpenAI's cloud service all the time.
Exactly. You have more control, more flexibility. It could genuinely shake up the whole AI cloud market, take some power away from the big API providers.
Interesting. And others are doing similar things.
Yeah. Hugging Face, a big player in the open source AI community, they just released Small LM3. It's a 3 billion parameter model, which that sounds small compared to some giants.
Right.
But it apparently excels at complex stuff like long context reasoning, understanding multiple languages, writing code, rivaling much bigger models.
So smaller, but punching above its weight.
Kinda, yeah. And it's not just companies. Swiss universities, ETH Zurich, and EPFL, they've unveiled an open source multilingual model, trained on the Alps supercomputer, no less.
Wow.
And it supports over 1,500 languages. That's a massive step for AI equity globally. Making powerful AI work beyond just English.
That is a powerful point about accessibility. It really sounds like the goal isn't just bigger, faster models anymore, but also making AI more available.
Yep.
What about the tools to build with AI? Are those getting easier to use too?
Yeah, definitely a strong push there. Google's got an agent development kit now, and there's W&B Weave. These are tools to simplify building and managing complex AI systems, tracking how they perform.
Okay.
There's also Llama, which lets developers run top AI models locally, not on their own laptops sometimes.
Locally, so offline.
Yeah, great for fast prototyping, experimentation, maybe even privacy if you don't want your data going to the cloud. And Modal Labs has made breakthroughs in serverless GPUs, making cloud deployment more efficient.
And it's not just software tools, right?
I saw some things about actual physical hardware becoming more accessible.
Exactly. This is pretty cool. Hugging Face is getting into robotics hardware. They've got Reichi Mini, a programmable open source robot for just $299.
$300 for an AI robot.
Yeah. And they also have a customizable 3D printed robotic arm starting at $100.
Wow.
Combine that with them releasing data sets of open source GPU code. It's all aimed at lowering the barrier to entry, getting more people tinkering with physical AI and robotics.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting for me and probably for you listening too. How is all this tech actually being used right now? What does it mean for daily life? What are some of the feature enhancements and practical apps we're seeing?
Right. The rubber hits the road here, and we're seeing rapid expansion. Google's Gemini AI, for example, is seeing a big surge in user adoption. People are actually using it more,
Okay.
reflecting its growing capabilities, its usefulness. And for the developers building on top of it, Llama Index is integrated with Gemini. Llama Index. That helps with RAG, right? Retrieval Augmented Generation.
Exactly. It makes building those RAG apps more seamless. And RAG is super important. It lets AI models pull in fresh information from outside their training data, like from documents or databases.
So they can give much more up-to-date and specific answers.
Precisely.
Okay.
Makes them way more accurate and relevant for real-world tasks.
Okay, that sounds like a big leap for accuracy. What about creative stuff, or even just, boring work tasks like meetings?
Yeah, seeing movement there too. VO3, a video generation tool, has added features allowing creators to make videos directly from images and audio. Opens up totally new creative workflows. In business intelligence, Good Data revamped its AI assistant using Qdrant, that's a vector database technology, to get almost real-time answers from business data. Big efficiency gain.
And meetings. Please tell me meetings are getting better.
Well, Zoom's trying. Their AI companion tool is expanding. It now integrates with like 16 other platform services, now Google Meet included.
And what does it do?
Offers meeting summaries, helps identify action items, even generates custom avatars now, trying to streamline that whole workflow.
Okay, summaries and action items could actually be useful. What about really critical areas, like healthcare?
Definitely seeing applications there. Alina Health, for example, is using AI tools from a company called Evidently.
Okay.
These tools help clinicians quickly summarize patient records, draft clinical notes. The idea is to cut down on the administrative burden.
Freeing them up for actual patient care.
That's the goal. Less time on paperwork, more time with patients.
Those direct applications are pretty incredible. Are there also sort of demos or showcases that hint at where AI integration might go next?
Yeah, some cool previews. There's PyLaters, lets you run complex AI experiments right in your web browser, lowers the barrier for research. Higgsfield's Soul ID is generating these personalized, photorealistic AI avatars for digital identities. Shows where digital personalization might be heading.
Like super realistic avatars for the metaverse or something.
Could be. And the new Comet web browser debuted with AGI automation and voice browsing built in. It demonstrates how AI could just seamlessly blend into how we use the web.
A smarter web experience.
Right.
And it's already changing how we shop, apparently. That Amazon Prime Day stat was wild.
Yeah, a 3,200% spike in generative AI use for product research and deal hunting.
Huge. Over half of U.S. shoppers using AI recommendations. It's not future tech. It's influencing consumer behavior right now.
Which inevitably brings us to the bigger picture stuff. This raises some important questions, doesn't it? As AI gets woven into everything, how do we handle the regulation, the safety, the societal side effects?
Right, the responsibility part.
Exactly. And on the regulation front, you're seeing movement. A recent UN summit really emphasized the urgent need for international AI rules to manage risks, ensure ethical development.
Is anyone actually doing it?
Well, California is making progress on a bill, FB 53, trying to position itself as a leader in responsible AI oversight. And France and the UK just announced they're strengthening cooperation on AI research and potentially regulation too. So there's a growing global sense that we need guardrails.
Okay, but while the rules are being debated, the tech keeps racing ahead. And safety concerns keep popping up, right?
Constantly. MIT recently disclosed a major security flaw in large language models. A reminder these systems aren't foolproof.
And people are actively trying to break them.
Yes. Researchers found this info flood method to jailbreak chatbots like ChatGPT and Gemini, basically tricking them into bypassing their own safety rules to generate harmful content.
Yikes. How are companies like OpenAI reacting?
Well, OpenAI specifically has tightened internal security. Fingerprint scans, offline servers, stricter protocols. Partly in response to claims that a Chinese firm, DeepSeek, managed to replicate their models. So, real concerns about IP theft and security breaches.
And then there's privacy. That always comes up with AI.
Huge issue. Google, Microsoft, Meta. They're all sparking debates with AI features in messaging apps like WhatsApp or Gemini, especially with reports that Gemini AI can now access data from other Android apps, potentially without explicit consent each time.
That feels intrusive.
It raises serious questions about data control, and the risks aren't just theoretical. The U.S. State Department reveals sophisticated AI voice. Deepfakes were used to impersonate Secretary Marco Rubio in targeted messages to officials.
Wow, deepfakes targeting government officials.
Shows the potential for deception. On the flip side, some are trying to build privacy into AI. Chainlink is rolling out tech for secure AI training, using private data like learning from encrypted medical records without actually exposing the raw data.
Okay, so tech solutions for tech problems, maybe. But there are also just fundamental disagreements on how to build this stuff safely in the first place.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You have companies like Anthropic focusing heavily on safety research and simulations before deploying widely. And then you have others, like xAI perhaps, seeming to favor more rapid real-world deployment and learning on the fly. That difference in approach fuels a massive industry debate about the right way to ensure AI safety.
And these ethical debates spill out into the real world, too. That Writers Guild situation with Grok.
Yeah, the WGA East quitting X over racist and anti-Semitic remarks allegedly generated by Grok. That really highlights the urgent need for better oversight. Who's responsible when AI says harmful things? How do you prevent it? How much bias is baked into the training data itself?
Fundamental questions. And we see AI helping people, too, like those with disabilities.
Truly transformative applications there, restoring communication, aiding navigation. Huge positives.
But even there are concerns.
Yeah, still concerns about privacy, data control, and maybe overdependency on the technology. And MIT researchers are also cautioning that relying too heavily on AI writing tools like ChatGPT might actually stunt critical thinking skills, especially in younger users. We need to think about how we integrate these tools thoughtfully in education.
And it's hitting culture, too. That indie rock band, Velvet Sundown.
Revealing the whole band was AI-generated. That sparked a huge debate about authenticity in music. What does real even mean anymore in art? How do fans react?
Yeah, fascinating questions. Meanwhile, you've got Disney and Universal suing Midjourney over copyright.
Right. That case could set massive legal precedents for generative AI. How does copyright work when an AI creates images based on existing styles or characters? Big legal battles ahead there.
And the ethical issues just keep coming. Language bias.
Yeah, a major survey found LLMs are still heavily skewed towards English. That means they might not work as well or be fair for billions of people globally.
And AI making decisions about people's jobs.
That's a worrying one. A survey showed 60% of U.S. managers are using tools like ChatGPT for key HR decisions, raises, layoffs, even terminations.
With little oversight.
Often, yeah, prompting really urgent calls for ethical guidelines and accountability in the workplace. We can't just let algorithms make life-changing decisions without checks and balances.
And on top of all that, the environmental cost.
We can't ignore that either. AI data centers are incredibly energy hungry. There's a big push needed towards greener tech, more sustainable AI development.
Okay, lots of challenges. But AI is also being positioned as a solution, especially in education, right?
Yes, definitely. OpenAI, Microsoft, Anthropic are putting serious money, $23 million, into a national center for AI instruction.
What's the goal there?
To train hundreds of thousands of U.S. teachers and 1 million in India on how to actually use AI effectively in the classroom. It's a strategic investment in equipping the workforce for an AI future.
And OpenAI is testing new learning features, too.
Yeah, apparently testing a study together mode for ChatGPT, like an interactive study buddy.
Yeah.
Could change how students engage with learning materials.
Okay. And finally, what's happening right at the cutting edge? The research frontier.
Well, at the big AI conference, ICML, there's buzz around a concept called flow matching. It's seen as a potential breakthrough for making generative AI more intuitive, maybe simpler to control. And there are several other cutting-edge papers gaining attention things, looking at more advanced reasoning and models, sometimes called System 2 thinking.
Like deeper, more deliberate thought from the AI.
Kind of, yeah. And improving how AI learns from reinforcement, making it better at generalizing to new situations. This research is likely to shape the next wave of AI evolution, pushing the boundaries again.
So, okay, let's try and wrap our heads around all this. What does it all mean? We've seen this breakneck pace, the intense competition, huge money, amazing tech, but also these really profound questions about safety, ethics, jobs, society.
Yeah.
It feels like this isn't just another tech shift, it's deeper than that. It's redefining how we work, how we learn, how we interact with everything.
It absolutely is. And it really demands our critical thinking, continuous engagement. We need to stay informed to understand the true implications. AI isn't just a tool anymore. It's this dynamic force that's actively shaping our future.
So, here's a final thought for you to ponder. In a world where AI is rapidly gaining abilities like emotional intelligence, creating music, even making decisions about who gets hired or fired, what responsibility do we have? As individuals, as a society, how do we make sure these incredibly powerful tools are developed and used ethically, equitably, sustainably? What role will you play in shaping that future?